All right, black and white sports supporters. Well, my goodness. This is one of the moments a lot of people has been waiting on. Of course, Caitlin Clark now has her own brand logo with Nike, and everybody's been like, where's the love? Where's the rest of the love been? This has dropped on Christmas. They waited to Christmas. I assume this will probably come out during NBA basketball today.
January 9th, 2026. That's the deadline. Just 8 days away. By then, the WNBA Players Union has the green light to strike if their demands aren't met. The league is in full panic mode. The commissioner is out issuing statements about compromise. Media outlets are busy churning out think pieces on player empowerment, pay equity, and revenue sharing. But here's the truth they aren't telling you. While everyone is obsessing over percentages and splits, the real battle isn't being fought in boardrooms. The real war is happening somewhere entirely different, and it has nothing to do with league politics. The prize, Caitlin Clark, the one player who fills seats, the one athlete whose jerseys actually sell, the one talent who single-handedly pushed women's basketball into the mainstream conversation in 2025. She's the player who moves the needle, and right now, massive corporations and international investors are plotting to take her out of the WNBA equation entirely. Not metaphorically, not just a free agent poach. I mean, creating an entirely new ecosystem where Caitlin doesn't need the WNBA at all, where she makes more money, calls the shots, and faces far less hostility than in a league that treats her like a threat instead of the treasure she is. This is the story the WNBA doesn't want you to hear, the billion-dollar war they're losing while they argue among themselves. Let's start with Nike. On Christmas Day 2025, they dropped a commercial, not just any commercial, but a signature Caitlin Clark ad during NBA prime time. That's visibility money can't buy by accident. It's the kind of investment that screams something huge is coming, and it is. Spring 2026 marks the launch of Caitlin Clark's first signature shoe. Think about that for a second. Nike has wagered $28 million on her. They've handed her a deal rivaling what LeBron James and Kevin Durant got at similar points in their careers. They've created an entire product line around her and poured marketing budgets into her that dwarf what the WNBA spends on promotion in an entire year. Nike has 28 million reasons to make sure Caitlin Clark is playing, and playing visibly. Televised basketball, games that sell shoes. Now, imagine this. If the WNBA season were canceled because of a strike or lockout, do you think Nike just sits back and watches their investment vanish? Not a chance. Here's what happens. Nike builds its own global tour. Caitlin Clark versus international teams. Sold out arenas from Los Angeles to London to Tokyo. TV deals, streaming rights, and sponsorship integrations that make every game feel like a live sneaker commercial. She becomes a traveling spectacle, generating more buzz than the WNBA ever could. And here's the kicker. Nike doesn't have to share revenue with a league. They don't navigate WNBA politics or endure Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's PR headaches. They don't have to placate players who think Caitlin gets too much attention. They control everything. The narrative, the schedule, the spotlight. Nike effectively becomes the league. Nike becomes women's basketball. Meanwhile, the WNBA risks being reduced to a regional minor league without its only mainstream superstar. Think I'm exaggerating? Look at boxing. When the traditional sanctioning bodies became corrupt and greedy, the money simply found a new path. Big fights bypassed the old system. Saudi Arabia started writing massive checks. Fighters chased enormous paydays in exhibitions and one-off events with zero connection to belts or rankings. The old infrastructure became irrelevant because the money found a better route. That's exactly what's about to happen to the WNBA. The money is moving elsewhere, and it runs straight through Caitlin Clark without ever touching a league that thinks it owns her. And Nike isn't even the only player. Consider the offer she already turned down. Unrivaled league, a 3-on-3 startup. Positioning itself as the cool alternative to the WNBA, offered Caitlin $1 million to play in their off-season league. $1 million for just a few weeks of play. She said no. The media spun it as loyalty. She's resting. She's preparing for the WNBA season, they wrote. But the subtext is far bigger. Caitlin Clark's value is undeniable, and everyone outside the WNBA is already strategizing on how to capitalize on it. The media tried to frame it as if Caitlin Clark turned down money out of some sense of loyalty to the WNBA. But if you read carefully, you see the real reason. She didn't say no because she doesn't want money. She said no because she knows her worth, and it's far higher than $1 million. Accepting that offer from a startup league like Unrivaled would have set a ceiling on her value. It would have put a price tag on her talent and limited her future earning potential. Caitlin Clark doesn't have ceilings anymore. She rejected Unrivaled because she's waiting for the real offer, the one that reflects her true market value, the one that makes 1 million look like pocket change. And that offer is coming. It's coming from overseas. And it's not 1 million. China has been quietly building its women's basketball infrastructure for years. They have corporate backing that makes most American sports owners look like small-time operators. They have government support, and they have a population of over 1 billion people who will show up for basketball. If there's a star they can rally behind, Caitlin Clark is that star. Young, American, marketable, and exactly the kind of athlete international markets crave. Chinese executives know something the WNBA apparently doesn't. Caitlin Clark can pack arenas in Shanghai and Beijing. She can drive television ratings. She can sell merchandise on a scale that makes her WNBA jersey sales look quaint, and they're preparing to back it up with numbers. Word is, the deal could be in the 10-15 million range for one season. Tax-free thanks to foreign contract structures, plus housing, security, appearance fees, and endorsements in the Asian market that could dwarf anything she earns in the US. Think about that, $15 million tax-free for a single season in China. Now compare that to her WNBA pay. As a rookie in 2025, Caitlin Clark earned $76,000 from the Indiana Fever. That's right, $76,000 to be the league's most valuable player, to sell out arenas, to generate ratings the WNBA hadn't seen in decades. Even with her Nike deal and other endorsements, the league itself contributed $76,000. Do the math. If the WNBA season is canceled and Caitlin is left without games, and someone offers her $15 million to play overseas for 6 months, why would she say no? Loyalty to a league that underpaid her. Loyalty to players who resented her success. Loyalty to a commissioner who failed to shield her from hostile media coverage and on-court targeting. There's no loyalty in business, only leverage. And right now, Caitlin Clark has all of it, and it gets worse for the WNBA. China isn't the only suitor circling. Saudi Arabia has been aggressively investing in global sports. Live golf, soccer, boxing, Formula One, you name it. Their capital is virtually unlimited, and they view sports as a tool for prestige and soft power. And yes, they've been watching women's basketball, specifically Caitlin Clark. Reports suggest Saudi sports officials have floated the idea of a women's basketball exhibition circuit, not a full league, just high-profile showcase events, all-star games, skills competitions, designed to dominate headlines and television, and they want Caitlin Clark at the center. They are ready to pay big because for them, it's not about ticket sales. It's about signaling to the world that Saudi Arabia can attract the biggest names in sports. Reputation has no price when a sovereign wealth fund backs your ambitions. So here we are, 8 days until the strike deadline. The WNBA is busy bickering over revenue splits, travel conditions, and whether players deserve upgraded hotel rooms, issues that should have been solved years ago. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is sitting on offers that could earn her more in a single season than she would make in a decade of WNBA contracts. She's watching Nike map out contingency plans. She's watching international investors write blank checks. She's watching the world recognize what the WNBA refuses to. She doesn't need the league. The league needs her. The WNBA built its 2025 marketing around Caitlin Clark. Playoff ratings spiked because of her. Jersey sales exploded because of her. And now they're at risk of losing her. Not because she doesn't love basketball, but because the league has created a scenario where leaving makes far more sense than staying. From Caitlin's perspective, the math is simple. If the season is canceled, she loses income, visibility, and momentum at the exact moment her career is taking off. Meanwhile, offers are waiting that would keep her in the spotlight, pay her more than the WNBA ever could, and let her play without the politics, media hostility, and resentment from peers who never wanted her to succeed. She holds all the leverage, and the WNBA is dangerously close to realizing too late that they built their league around a star they might never see again. What would you do if you were in her shoes? What decision actually makes sense? The WNBA is banking on loyalty. They're counting on the idea that she values playing in the best league in the world more than financial security or professional respect. They're assuming she'll accept $76,000 next season simply because she loves basketball. But here's the part they don't understand. Caitlin Caitlin Clark does love the game, and that's exactly why she might walk away. Overseas, she could play without being treated like a problem. She wouldn't be expected to fix some decades of the league's financial issues. She wouldn't hear complaints about getting too much attention or face on-court targeting while the league turns a blind eye. She could play, be celebrated for her talent, and build generational wealth doing it. She could become a global brand, one that exists far beyond a struggling American league. The WNBA had a golden opportunity, a once-in-a-generation player who could have carried the league into mainstream relevance, secured TV deals, sponsorships, and the cultural influence the league has been chasing for 25 years. And they blew it. They blew it by underpaying her. They blew it by allowing a toxic culture where excellence is resented instead of rewarded. They blew it by failing to protect their star from media attacks and on-court targeting. They blew it by getting tangled in a labor dispute at the moment they should have been building momentum. And now, while the league is distracted with negotiations, strike deadlines, and public statements, the real game is unfolding without them. Nike is mapping contingency plans. China is preparing massive offers. Saudi Arabia is planning to roll out their own sports showcase. And Caitlin Clark is staring down the biggest decision of her career. January 9th, just 8 days away. If the WNBA doesn't get this right, they won't just lose a season. They'll lose their economic engine. They'll lose their future. They'll lose the one player who could have changed everything. And here's the cruelest irony. When she inevitably makes the choice that benefits her, they'll probably blame her. They'll call it betrayal. They'll say she abandoned women's basketball. They'll accuse her of chasing money instead of helping build the league. But the truth is far simpler. The WNBA abandoned her first. They had the golden goose, and they starved it while arguing over who owned the eggs. So here's the real question. If you were Caitlin Clark, what would you do? Stay loyal to a league that undervalued you? Accept $76,000 when someone else is offering $15 million. Keep playing in an environment where your success makes you a target. Or take control of your career, get paid what you're worth, and build your own legacy. Because right now, that's the choice she faces. And the WNBA better hope she picks them. Because if she doesn't, the league has just lost the only war that truly mattered, the $1 billion war.